G'day everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. So we're here with a biggie. I'm going to be going over my top 50 plays from the 2023 AFL season. Always is a fun video to do and did take plenty of time thinking about this list, and yes, of course there are some plays stiff, but it does happen. But I am keen to go over and showcase my top 50 plays for the 2023 AFL season. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you do go on to enjoy, and let's get into it. 50th, 𝐬𝐿 𝐿𝐴NGFORD. We kick off today's top 50 with 𝐬𝐿 𝐿ANGFORD, a deserving player on the list. The utility was a revelation for the Dons in 2023, booting home over 50 goals in a heavily improved season and placing close second in Essendon's best and fairest. 49th, Rory Laird. When compiling this list, it's hard to go past Rory Laird. His underrated approach to the footy, consistency and elite tackling skills was again his trademark in 2023. 48th, Max Gawn. With the Gawn and Grundy experiment failing, it didn't stop the star from having a productive year. Gawn got back to his best in the second half of the year with some game-winning performances, but obviously wasn't able to hit a high level of consistency. 47th, Josh Dunkley. One of the recruits of 2023, Dunkley fitted in very well in Brisbane's midfield, playing his part as that defensive-minded, accountable midfielder to a T. 46th, Sam Taylor. Even though he only played 15 home and away season games because of injury, his impact per game was still remarkable, backing up his 2022 season with a strong 2023, with stats-wise being one of the best one-on-one defenders in the competition. 45th, Andrew Brayshaw. Was far from his 2022 best in 2023, but numbers-wise, the hard-working midfielder still had a very good year, averaging over 29 disposals a game and ranked elite in tackles. 44th, Nick Blakey. The Lizard Wizard was not only one of the most watchable players for the Swans this year, but was finally able to string some consistency for the first time in his career, being a menace in the air and rebounding with pace. Blakey also got an All-Australian 40-man selection, as well as finishing second in the club's best and fairest. 43rd, Joe Daniher. Probably one of the more underappreciated players in the competition, Daniher was huge for the Lions this season in their premiership tilt, kicking 61 goals, and of course featuring some bombs from over 50 metres out. 42nd, 𝐼𝐿𝐴N 𝐿𝐴NGFORD. One of the more heavily improved players this year, 𝐼𝐿𝐴NGFORD was a key part in Craig McRae's premiership back six, rebuilding efficiently, but most importantly intercepting almost anything that came his way, whilst being able to lock down opposition small forwards very well. 41st, Shea Bolton. Some people say he's overrated, others say he's one of the better players in the comp. No matter your view, it's hard to disagree that Shea Bolton is one of the most dangerous players when the opposition gives him space. Alongside Dusty and Petrarca, Bolton was one of the few players in the competition that averaged over 20 disposals and a goal this season. 40th, John Newcombe. The young star midfielder went to new heights this year, possessing some standout performances and heavily improved his outside game, being more involved on the scoreboard. He averaged over 25 disposals and finished top 20 in the coaches' votes. 39th, Matt Rowell. The inside midfield bull had an impressive breakout season, the top tackler in the competition, and was top 5 in contested possessions. He also heavily improved his outside game, averaging over 21 disposals a game. 38th, Patrick Cripps. Last season's Brownlow medalist didn't quite have the consistency he would have strived for, with a bit of a mid-season slump, but he really got going when the whips were cracking in the second half of the year, with stats-wise being one of the best ball users in and around the contest, and a key part in Carlton's push towards a prelim final. 37th, Tim Kelly. A shining light in the Wooden Spooners side, Kelly was a consistent workhorse in the Eagles midfield, earning himself a Best and Fairest award and producing career best numbers. 36th, Dustin Martin. You never ever want to write off this man. In a disappointing year for Richmond, Dusty was able to have a huge impact in the Tigers' forward half, being only one of 3 players to have averaged over 20 touches and a goal this year. You could almost say, given his extremely high expectations, that he was very underrated this year, also grabbing a spot in the All-Australian 40-man squad. 35th, Nick 𝐼𝐿𝐴NGFORD. Always a fan favourite for the Roos, 𝐼𝐿𝐴NGFORD enjoyed a career best year, booting home 71 goals and a 17th place side, to earn himself his first All-Australian blazer. An accurate set shot and was dangerous in the air. 34th, Tim Taranto. Started off the first half of the year like a house on fire, showing to the competition why he was one of the best recruits this season. His form did taper off slightly in the back half of this year, but was still a fantastic goal-kicking midfielder across 2023, taking home the club's Best and Fairest award in his first season at Punt Road Oval. 33rd, 𝐓𝐡𝐞 𝐿𝐼𝐪. Another year, another surprising All-Australian snub. Regardless on whether he received a jacket or not, his 2023 campaign was one to remember, displaying his one-on-one brilliance, especially in the second half of the season, and took home his second John Nicholls medal. 32nd, Sam Walsh. Sticking with the Blue Baggers, Sam Walsh's outstanding final series boosts his stock to push up the list in today's video. Another year without a full preseason, his form grew as the year went on, possessing his ball magnet self, and got back to his best in the big games from September. 31st, Josh Kelly. The Giants' miraculous push to a late September surge couldn't have been done without some of the veterans, and this is where Josh Kelly turned it up a gear. Play ratings wise, Kelly had a career best season in 2023, showing his class inside and outside and picking apart opposition with his elite foot skills forward of centre. 30th, Tom Stewart. Similar to Dustin Martin, when a superstar player sets such a high bar, you almost underappreciate a play's season if they don't play at their absolute best. Even though that statement is true, Stewart's 2023 campaign was still fantastic, playing his usual self as that prime interceptor and reading the game behind the footy exceptionally well. He also averaged the highest amount of marks a game from his position, with 8.3 a game. 29th, Callum 𝐼𝐿𝐼. The Star Saint built off his solid 2022 season exceptionally well this year, improving under the guidance of Ross Lyon. 𝐼𝐿𝐼 was one of the top interceptors and was heavily reliable week in week out for the Saints, deservedly earning his maiden All-Australian selection. 28th, Jack 𝐼𝐵INIE. One of the more underrated midfielders in the competition, 𝐵INIE strung together a very consistent season. A player who always plays bigger than what his size suggests, he was a heavy influence in the D's midfield, finishing in the top 15 for the coaches' votes and being a part of the All-Australian 40-man squad. 27th, Stephen Coniglio. The classy goal-kicking midfielder got back to his career best form in 2023, producing a fantastic season. He was a brute force in and around the contest and was able to hit the scoreboard and damage opposition game in, game out. 26th, Josh Daicos. Another one of those players who built off a strong 2022 campaign, Josh Daicos took his game to another level this year, picking up his first All-Australian selection and winning the club's Best and Fairest award in a premiership side. Ultra consistent with a great blend of athleticism and class. 25th, Harris Andrews. From a personal perspective, Andrews was the biggest name left out in the All-Australian side. He was a force to be reckoned with within the Lions' back six, constantly intercepting anything that came his way, and was able to rebound by foot extremely well, playing as that third tall defender and being a key part in the Lions' premiership tilt, hence why he took home the Lions' Best and Fairest award. 24th, Tom Liberatore. Another individual who was unlucky to miss out on an All-Australian jacket. Libby's career best season was ultra consistent, ranking top 3 in contested possessions and ranking second overall in the competition for player ratings. Always in and under the footy, extracting it out to your likes of Bontempelli and Treloar. 23rd, Charlie Cameron. We saw plenty of the motorbike at the Gabba this year, with the All-Australian small forward booting home 59 goals and constantly being a nuisance for those who matched up on him. Always reading the drop zone of contests, Cameron's ability to get goals out the back or from breaking a few tackles in a row was second to none this year. 22nd, Dan Houston. Port Adelaide's wonderful home and away season couldn't have been done without the influence of Dan Houston. The first-timer All-Australian was a key part in the pair's back half, distributing the pill with class with his elite kicking, rebounding with haste, and most importantly, slotting home a couple of snags from beyond the 50-metre arc. 21st, Rowan Marshall. A ruckman who didn't make the All-Australian might be sitting a little bit high at 21, but regardless of awards, Marshall's season was very impressive. Whether it would be his marking prowess when moved forward, or carrying the team on his back with his hit-out work and ability to transition the footy, Marshall would always cause a nuisance for opposition coaches, capping off his strong year, finishing third in the Saints B&F. 20th, Darcy Moore. The premiership key defender was able to show why he was one of the best in his position again this year, constantly peeling off forwards and intercept marking very efficiently. Moore's ball skills off the turnover and in transition was also a big highlight from his 2023 campaign. 19th, Tom Green. A player we all expected to go to another level this year, and boy did that happen. Always known to have faded out in the back half of seasons, the Canberran was finally able to string together a high quality year. His inside midfield craft and ability to rack up the footy was outstanding, proving even more on why he's already one of the best ball winning midfielders in the AFL. Green also capped off his fantastic season with a very impressive final series. 18th, Jordan De Goey. Wowee, did this man deliver. One of the best big game plays stood up for the Maggies this year in their premiership run. Not only did he start off the season exceptionally well, playing as that breakaway clearance beast, but he was also able to bring his best to the table when it mattered, especially kicking one of the winning goals in the grand final. 17th, Noah Anderson. The Suns' best and fairest winner for 2023 put together a remarkable season. Impactful around the footy and damaging the opposition game by game, Anderson ranked 6th overall for player ratings, top 12 for the coaches' votes, and made the top 10 in the Brownlow medal. 16th, Zach Merrett. The Bombers skipper had a very positive 2023 campaign. Merritt's two-way running, clean hands and use in the stoppage, and ability to damage the defence with neat kicks forward of centre was something we witnessed on a consistent basis. 15th, Tim English. The All-Australian ruckman went to new heights this year. Top 5 in the comp for player ratings, English's around the ground running and ability to play as that extra midfielder for the Dogs was the difference on him being the best ruckman this year. He could also go forward well and punch home a few goals. 14th, James Sicily. One of the best defenders yet again this year, Sicily was finally rewarded with his first All-Australian selection. His intercept marking, decision making, rebound ability, and most significantly, his leadership was fantastic, especially playing alongside a very young backline. He was the nucleus for the Hawks on how they moved the footy in the back half, racking up uncontested and contested marks each week, averaging a whopping 9.9 a game. 13th, Taylor Walker. A heavily important component to the Crows' improved season, the veteran key forward enjoyed a career best year, alongside an All-Australian Blazer at 33. His versatility showed, being able to snag goals on his right, left, set shot, on the run, snaps from 50, you name it. Narrowly just missing out on the Coleman, but it certainly was a year to remember. 12th, Jack Sinclair. The running mullet was just as good, or if not better, than his brilliant campaign last year, continuing to show that he's one of the competition's premier rebounding defenders. His pace and quick thinking with ball in hand was the standout in his game. Also being able to do some shifts in the midfield, Sinclair's consistent season saw him take home the Trevor Barker Award and an All-Australian selection for 2 years in a row. 11th, Caleb Serong. With Andy Brayshaw coming off one of the best seasons a young midfielder can have, it was hard to see another midfielder in that young Freo engine room take his place. Well, it seemed that Caleb Serong was able to do so. One of the most consistent seasons out of any player this year, dominating with disposal and utilising his inside midfield craft to perfection. His breakout year was deservedly capped off with an All-Australian jacket and a B&F trophy. 10th, Connor Rozee. Starting off the top 10, we have the young star midfielder of Connor Rozee. Building off last year's breakout season, Rozee continued to rack up the goals and impact per touch in 2023, especially doing twice the damage alongside Zach Butters. 9th, Jordan Dawson. What a year it was for the Crows skipper. After moving into a full-time midfield role earlier in the season, he never looked back. His versatility, foot skills and composure showed, racking up the football and making the right moves in heavy traffic. A year that signified why the Crows wanted him those few years ago, moving himself up into the competition's elite. 8th, Errol Goulden. Alongside the song Errol by Australian Crawl, hitting 1 billion streams on Spotify, this young star swan took his game to the next level this year. His diligence, hard work and class paid off, as his 2023 campaign only kept on getting better week by week, damaging opposition by foot and from hard two-way running. The maiden All-Australian winger also just narrowly missed out on the Brownlow medal, but of course took home the 𝐓𝐡𝐞 medal by some margin, also finishing 6th in the coaches' votes. 7th, Lachie Neale. The Brownlow medalist of 2023 enjoyed another stellar season in Brisbane Lions colours. Always stated by players that Neil is one of the hardest players to play on, the 30-year-old was one of the best clearance players this season, consistently showing his class in and around the contest and being a big part in the Lions' fantastic season. 6th, 𝐴𝐿𝐼 𝐶𝐞, a year to remember for the Blue Bugger, slotting home 81 goals and taking home back-to-back Coleman medals. 𝐶𝐞 was able to show his dominance throughout the year in the air, on the lead, and kicking some wonderful goals from open play. Let's not forget about his set shots, he rarely misses. Didn't quite have the final series he would have strived for, but you'd assume there would have been plenty of experience gained from the star forward's first appearance in September. 5th, 𝐬𝐴 𝐵𝐵, another superb year from the gun midfielder forward. Ranking first in the comp again for score involvements, 𝐵𝐵 was able to make impact in the guts or playing as a stay-at-home forward. Brilliant overhead and could make the ball talk, booting home 28 goals as a midfielder. Top 5 in coaches' votes, the Brownlow medal count and play ratings, a justified selection to start our top 5. 4th, Toby Greene. After an overall quiet season last year for his expectations, the Giants skipper proved on why he is one of the most dangerous players in the competition, showcasing a remarkable 2023 campaign. Whether it be setting up his teammates with his crafty skill forward of centre, kicking bags, or slotting home the impossible, Greene was able to stand up in the big moments on multiple occasions for the Giants. A career best season for the All-Australian captain, damaging the opposition week in, week out. 3rd, 𝐷 Butters. It's quite difficult to name a player who had a better stretch of games for an 8 to 10 week period than what 𝐷 Butters had. The young star announced himself to the competition that he is one of the AFL's elite in 2023. Finally being able to put together an injury-free season, his ferocity on the footy, decision making, appetite in the contest, and making an impact on the scoreboard was what blew fans and especially coaches away, deservedly taking home the Coaches Association Player of the Year award. I also still stand by my statement that his performance against Melbourne back in round 10 was the best individual performance out of any player this season. 2nd, Nick Daicos. It's almost scary to think on what could have been if this man did not get injured. But you know, a premiership medallion and showcasing to the footy world that he could be the next generational talent isn't a bad way to express your season at all. It certainly was a breathtaking year from Daicos. Moving more into the midfield, his footy IQ, pace, ball skills, and especially awareness for such a young player was brilliant to watch this year. Also being capable on kicking some wonderful goals, it's almost no surprise on how good this talented player was in 2023. 1st, Marcus Bontempelli, the people's player, the skipper, the Bont, whatever you want to call him. Marcus Bontempelli was the best footballer in 2023. The awards almost say it alone. Club Best and Fairest winner, All-Australian Vice Captain, AFL PA Best Captain, and of course the Leigh Matthews Trophy. The Dogs captain was a huge influence in the midfield, orchestrating and dictating the play with his high quality ball use and kicks forward of centre, and displaying remarkable leadership skills, lifting the team when he was on song. Hard to forget about his ability to go forward and take strong marks overhead and punch home goals left, right and centre too. So another season of brilliance in the books for the Bont, which has now kick-started conversation on could he be the best ever player for the Western Bulldogs. So over on there was my top 50 AFL players from this AFL season. Always a fun video to do, but it is tricky to do as well. There was a few players that were really stiff on missing out. I totally understand that. So the video will probably contain inevitably comments of people saying, where's this player, where's that player? I totally understand there were a few players very stiff, but overall I feel pretty satisfied and content with my rankings. Feel free to comment down below and let me know what you did think of my rankings, and also maybe comment down below maybe stating what players would you maybe swap out. Would have you had a different best player in the competition? Love to hear all your fellas' opinions down below in the comments. Once again, everyone, thank you very much for tuning into today's video. Feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you did go on to enjoy. Of course, we are in the off season at the moment, so yeah, pretty much I'll just be uploading once or twice per week, so pretty limited or less frequent uploads as I always do during this off season, but I always do appreciate the support, everyone. And yeah, apart from that, I will talk to you later. See you later, fellas.